All right, good morning and welcome to Rapid On. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning right here. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Today promises to be super amazing. I'm definitely not alone. I have Uchuku here with me.
Hello, people of the world. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here. Good morning to you, Cynthia. Yeah, it's a weird Wednesday. Did you sleep well?
I
Because I did,
Yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah, especially with the rain,
Ah,
It was peaceful, it was calm.
absolutely, it was
Yeah,
peaceful.
loved the way I felt about it.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go straight to health and wellness this morning. Many people are familiar with high blood pressure, and this morning we're going to be looking at low blood pressure because it's actually a thing. Don't go anywhere. All right, that was something right there on low blood pressure. It is a very big deal, and try as much as possible to be conscious about your blood pressure. Too less of everything is bad. Too much sugar, not good. Too less, not good. Low blood pressure, worse. High blood pressure, not good. Too much water, bad. Little or no water, terrible. So you just have to, it all about balance. Balance, balance, balance. And always check your blood pressure so that you know when it's dropping and when it's increasing, basically.
I totally agree. Oh my goodness. I feel like there's something else you're expecting to hear from me, but honestly, I'm in alignment with your thoughts, and you should take medical checkups really serious. Always try to find out what your blood pressure is and its implications. Yeah, because I mean, it's not a lot of people who understand the readings on the blood pressure thing. So when you go and then the nurses or the doctors check, ask them, for the implications. If the doctor is saying you have a high blood pressure, okay, doc, can you explain it to me? Or what do you think might have caused this? Talk to the doctor about your routine, your lifestyle, and basically, yeah, it could help to direct you and narrow down what the options are and possible ways of managing the situation.
Okay, before we go to fashion this morning, let's look at our chicken recipe first. What?
Yeah. Chicken now.
Uh-huh.
The Nigerian man in me finds some sort of the Nigerian man in me is not impressed.
Why? What is not impressive
The
about it?
Nigerianness. I mean, is there something wrong with cooking chicken?
I mean, you don't
Is
have to
it,
be cooking chicken every time.
is there something wrong with cooking it before you fry it? Yeah.
No, that's not the recipe. The recipe is to
The
slice
recipe
it
is
and
not.
chop it into tiny
It's
pieces.
not recipeing for me.
So what you're saying, you're not going to try it.
No, no. I do not see myself doing that.
Anyway, I see myself doing that.
Okay. So
In fact, it looks like me. I see myself.
when when you do it, I would like to.
No, you don't see
You
yourself.
don't even know why I want to. I just like to be there to watch the expression on your face,
Adasa.
as I am most definite and certain that you will be disappointed with the outcome.
Never.
I'll just be there, to,
I will never be disappointed with the outcome.
to savor the delights of that disappointment.
I will love it. If I already love it just by looking at it on the screen, so I'm
Oh
going
my
to love it.
goodness.
All right, let's move on straight to our fashion this morning. Let's see what we have on the runway. I'm definitely sure you're going to love it.
What's amusing you? Would you like to tell our audience?
No. I don't intend to go there. Let's leave it on fashion.
All righty then.
I think that the amazing look that you want to wear every other day to your office important. I saw some really good office wear. Saw some really good party wears. Saw some really good what's the word now?
Casual outfits.
Not really casual, but they fit into different occasions basically. So yeah, they were really very cool. But tomorrow's runway is going to be different. I can assure you. I can already feel it in my spirit. What? I prophesy.
I share in that prophetic foresight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's take some of the stories on our national day list this morning before it gets to 8 o'clock. Let's take some of the big stories. If we have them. Okay, so starting with the Punch. 26.35% interest rate. Private sector fears loan and repayment crisis. Tinubu okays $750 million for rural electrification. Wow. Naira slide pushes Dangote diesel to 1,100 Naira per liter. Reps panel to probe 40 presidential aircraft. And on the minimum wage, meeting adjourned as Labour reject fresh 54,000 Naira offer. Okay, medical tourism spending falls by $5.24 million. This is coming from their CBN. This one says, I didn't start governing fully until this February. This is coming from Fubara.
Okay. Punch Sports Extra is next. We have fight to the finish. Lookman battles compatriots Boniface Stella as Atlanta Leverkusen clash in Europa final. And Amputee AFCON Special Eagles wallop Burundi 11-0. We have our ZM hopes to return stronger. Why Pochettino left Chelsea. Ronaldo 39 named in Portugal Euro squad. Desire steeped for Scottish Cup glory. Vinicius backed to win Ballon d'Or. Okay, and Williams to accept a 4-year Reds deal. Forest extends Aina's contract by 1 year. All of those stories you can find on Punch Sports Extra this morning. Moving on to the Blueprint newspaper, 2027, APC tackles Atiku, Obi over major talk, Ganduje targets more states, Tinubu's re-election. Interesting. 54,000 Naira minimum wage offer, a joke carried too far. That's coming from Labour. ECOWAS mulls mediation committee to pacify Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. Zulum building Borno of the future. And there's also a story regarding the CBN and the Federation Cup on the Blueprint newspaper as well.
Moving on to New Telegraph. Chaos looms, life becoming tough for average citizens. This is coming from ASC 1's Tinubu. Cardoso, foreign investors' feedback on Nigeria's economy. Positive. Great. We are working to restore power by May 27. Okay, TCN tells. Can we please have it bolder? Or let's move to the next paper, please. Let's go.
All right. Okay. There's plenty more on the New Telegraph. All right. Minimum wage, labor, federal government meeting ends in deadlock. Federal government's 54,000 offer is wage reduction coming from labor. No governor in attendance. Meeting to reconvene today. And CDWR calls for more action. Edo Guba, Oyofo, Alimikena, Ogadome, Omabayo mobilized for Igodalo and assure victory. Reforms will eliminate corruption coming from Edu, that's the Minister of Finance. CBN raises interest rate to 26.25%. OPS protest. And the big headline there says inflation battle. MPR hikes pose danger to economy coming from Nasima. NESA highlights negative impact on investment and inflation. Additional burden for businesses coming from the CPPE. There is no magic wand that's coming from the CBN Governor Yemi Cardoso. Of course, that's quite the conversation that's getting a lot of reaction this morning. Gunmen kill 40 burn houses in Plateau community. Students loan scheme non-discriminatory, says Vice President Shettima. And lastly, petrol marketers fret as the price rises to 710 naira per litre in Lagos. All of these stories you can find on the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Moving on to leadership newspaper this morning. Fear grips Plateau residents as gunmen kill 50. And we have several houses razed, communities deserted, village head, youth leader confirmed killings. Security agencies keep mum. CBN's benchmark interest rate hits 26.25% to sustain past gains. And Northern elders want regional disparities addressed. Anti-Kano Assembly set to amend Emirate Council law. And okay, on the foreign scene, Iran searches for a new future after Rassi's death. There's something there on the Hajj that you want to take out, and something from the Vice President. We won't cut corners to revive economy. This is coming from the Vice President, Kashim Shettima. Let's move on.
Up next is The Guardian. MPC outcome. CBN guns for stable currency FPIs as rates hike hurts businesses. MPR raised by 150 base points to 26.25%. Again, Labour rejects 54,000 naira minimum wage proposal. APC dismisses major talks as Obi visits Labour Party Secretariat. Yobe, Anambra, Benue senators clash over farmers and herders clash crisis. Bandits kill 46 persons, raise homes in Plateau. Court quashes tenure extension for Rivers local government chairman. That penalty for drug traffickers not proven effective, says NUODC. And fresh nationwide strike looms in varsities over ASU's demands. Just from one issue to another. Nigerian startups get 29.3% of Africa's $15 billion funding in 5 years. I'm sure there's more insight to that story on the inside pages of The Guardian newspaper this morning. And we'll take just one last one before we go.
All right. This day, again, CBN raises MPR to 26.25% to subdue inflation. Ganduje, although not election period yet, we are working to secure Tinubu's re-election. The federal government's policies focus on what work best for Nigeria. Shettima's aide discloses. And we have something right there. Cardoso monetary tightening yielding desired outcomes. Banking system safe, sound despite headwinds. Plans stronger regulatory framework for fintechs, NECA, Teriba, CPPE, say aggressive monetary tightening, squeezing businesses, hunting borrowers. Naira sustained gains on official window, stable at parallel FX market. These are some of the interesting stories that you will find on this day, this beautiful morning. And that's the much we can take on the papers this morning.
Absolutely.
Before we go to sports, let's just learn some new words this morning. And let's have our first new word. Okay, this is the first new word. And this one is, it means a personal possession. Chattel.
So it's like my phone. My phone is a chattel.
No.
My pen is a chattel.
No.
But it is my personal possession.
No, not in that way. Something prized, something important, something.
Like my land is my chattel.
That's your own. Anyway, let's move to the second new word.
I love it.
The second word.
Buzzard.
So this is used to describe
Buzzard.
someone who is grumpy or mean.
Ooh. Buzzard.
I know a very buzzard person that starts with an R.
I wouldn't like to meet any buzzard today.
Okay, so the last word is something that a lot of times we use the word and we actually think that it is pidgin English, but it's not pidgin English. It's actually, I think the origin is an old French word, yes. And this is the next, our new word 3. This one is, can we have it? This is vex. So a lot of times people use it thinking it's pidgin English. They make me vex and all of that. But no, it's not pidgin. It's actually an old French word. And it means to cause difficulty to someone or to cause someone to feel angry, annoyed, or upset. So yes, we use it in pidgin as, no, they make me vex, so no, they make me vex, so, but it means no, make me angry, all that kind of thing. But it's not actually a pidgin word. It's an old French word. So you get to learn that today. So to cause difficulty to someone or to cause someone to feel angry. For example, I can easily say, Mr. Rashid makes me vex.
Okay.
Or
well, I mean,
Ugochukwu sometimes vex me.
As a bright student, right from my primary school days, or nursery, in fact, kindergarten actually, I've never thought that this word was a pidgin word, because I mean, I read a lot of novels, and, so I've seen that word a lot of times, even in the Bible, and he was so vexed. You would read things like that.
Now, when it comes to the vexed, a lot of people don't really use vexed because they don't really know how to use vexed. So when you see, I mean, every random person on the street out there use vex, but I don't really know how to use vexed in a sentence because like it's too much of a word. But vex. So every random person, if I even go and meet someone by the way, he will use the word, guy, they make me the vex, so. But he doesn't really know that the vex is not a pidgin word. It is an old French word.
It doesn't also only describe people. You can use it for situations or to describe certain occurrences. Yeah. I mean, there are even other connected words like vexation. Yeah. Well, an example that comes in handy would be, I hope you don't find yourself in. I don't believe the connecting word is vexful. No.
This one is vexful again.
I hope you don't find yourself in a vexing situation. Eh?
In a vexing?
Yeah, I think that should be
a vexing.
Vexation. Yeah.
Vexed.
Vexed. Yeah, that works as well.
Yeah, vexing. Speech English is vexing.
You are a vexing person.
Anyway, up next is time
I'm
for.
always vexing whenever you're around.
Oh my god.
That's on the lighter note
No,
anyway.
that one you've gone away. You've gone away from our old French now.
Yeah.
You've moved to Nigerian pidgin. All right, it's time for sport right about now. It's 8 o'clock. We'll be right back.
A very good morning. Thank you for joining us in Rapid Sports this morning. It's the morning tonic we ingest once every 24 hours, Monday to Friday, right here on your favorite channel, 176 on Star Times. Ugochukwu Madimere is my name. On the front burner, quite a lot to talk about. We have the Europa League finals happening today. Bayer Leverkusen, or never losing, if you want to put it that way, up against Atalanta, Gianpiero Gasperini and Xabi Alonso, all squaring up against each other today. And of course, a couple of more squad list for the Euro tournament being released. So take a look at that in just a moment. Well, let's kickstart this morning with some cheerful news as Nigeria's men's amputee football team, talking about the Special Eagles, are through to the quarterfinals of the ongoing amputee AFCON in Egypt following a comprehensive 11-0 win over Burkina Faso, Burundi, in their last group game on Wednesday. Striker Michael Jewell was the star performer in the win, scoring 7 times, while Turkey-based Mohamed Grima scored a hat-trick, plus another goal by Olabohachi. Made a light work of the newcomers. The big win sealed the top spot comfortably for the Special Eagles. And of course, well, top spot now ahead of Egypt. We're ahead of them on superior goal difference. The Egyptians had beaten the Burundi national team 10-2 on Tuesday following their goalless draw against Nigeria in the opening game last Saturday. Nigeria will face the second place team from Group B in the quarterfinals on Thursday night, with Liberia looking set to finish behind Morocco in that group, depending on the outcome of their encounter, which is a late kickoff for today. So 7 out of the countries that progressed to the last 8 will make it to the 2026 Amputee World Cup in Morocco. Nigeria's best outing at the Nations Cup was a second place finish at the 2019 edition in Angola, losing 2-0 to host in the final. So big congratulations to the Special Eagles. We wish them more special results as the tournament unfolds. Now to the 3 Lions of England. We had the list released yesterday by coach of the side, or you might want to call him manager, talking about Gareth Southgate. But there were some notable omissions in that particular one. Marcus Rashford, one of them, he did pay for his poor season as the Manchester United forward was left out of England boss Gareth Southgate's provisional 33-man squad for Euro 2024 yesterday. Former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson and of course Chelsea skipper Reece James were also among the other big names to miss out on the squad that must be trimmed to a maximum of 26 players before the tournament in Germany begins. Crystal Palace Adam Wharton is rewarded for the Eagles' brilliant end to the Premier League season with his first ever call-up. Everton's Jared Bradworth, and Liverpool duo Jarrell Quansah and Curtis Jones are the other uncapped players selected, with Southgate short on defensive options. Very quickly, to run through that list, we have Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale. Despite the fact he's now second choice at Arsenal, he gets a call up. Dean Henderson of Crystal Palace and James Trafford of Burnley. Defenders Kai Walker, John Stones, Harry Maguire, Jared Braithwaite, Jarrell Quansah, Joe Gomez, Mark Guehi, Kieran Trippier, Ezri Konsa of Aston Villa, Lewis Dunk of Brighton. Midfielders will have Declan Rice, Kobe Mino, Adam Wharton, Conor Gallagher of Chelsea, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and of course Curtis Jones, both from Liverpool. Forwards, Harry Kane, who we hear is in a race against fitness to be fit for Euro 2024. Oli Watkins of Aston Villa, friend, a very beautiful striker there. Ivan Toney of Brentford, Jarrod Bowen of West Ham, Bukayo Saka, Anthony Gordon of Newcastle, Cole Palmer of Chelsea, James Maddison of Tottenham Hotspur, Jude Bellingham of Real Madrid, Phil Foden, and of course Jack Grealish, both of Manchester City, and there's Eberechi Eze as well of Crystal Palace. So these are the ones who will be trying to get into the final 26-man squad. So right now it's 33, but at the end of the day, we're going to have a 26-man squad, who will be the final short list for that particular one. But I mean, look at some of those big names that are missing out. Marcus Rashford, Reece James, what's his name again? Ben Chilwell, also missing out in that particular one. Well, for Marcus Rashford, you would understand it was not really a good season for him in the colours of Manchester United. I don't think that he's ever had such an underwhelming season. We also had Manchester United finishing out of the top 6 this year. I think this was the first year in so many in such a long time that Marcus Rashford failed to hit double figures for Manchester United in goal contributions, and so it's no surprise basically that he was not able to make the list. And Reece James as well, his would be likely due to the fact that most of the season he was out through injury, and then he makes a return, and it wasn't really the very best of returns, because he picks up a red card in his second match after he makes his return. So but then again, you can't take anything away from Reece James. He's arguably one of the best, right backs in the world, and maybe, just maybe, England might be missing the services of the big man Reece James at Euro 2024. Well, we'll only keep our fingers crossed and see how that all pans out. Remember, England faced Bosnia and Herzegovina on June 3, and Iceland 4 days later, before jetting off for Germany, where they are one of the favourites to win the tournament. The wealth of options available to Southgate in attacking areas means Rashford misses out on a major tournament for the first time since the 2014 World Cup. He scored 8 times in 42 appearances for club this season, and only recently returned from injury. Well, some of the other notable absentees: Raheem Sterling of Chelsea, Calvin Phillips overlooked as well. Didn't really go so well for him in his adventure at West Ham. Jadon Sancho, despite his renaissance, or some sort of what you might call return back to former Borussia Dortmund, he is still yet overlooked. Jordan Henderson, this was one man that I never believed could ever be dropped by Gareth Southgate, but guess what? He would not be joining the rest of the 3 Lions for this particular tournament. Well, his move to Ajax in January after a short spell in Saudi Arabia, was just not enough. And you could see that England has never really lacked options when it comes to talents. And particularly in the attacking lineup, I imagine that Gareth Southgate will be having a lot of headache as to which player to field, which of the player that gets, maximum minutes against any of the sides that we're going to be up against the Euro 2024. I mean, you have a Harry Kane who was absolutely imperious and phenomenal as usual for Bayern Munich. Scoring goals has never been a problem for Harry Kane, even when he was at Tottenham. The only thing was that he never really won any trophy with, any of the sides that he's played with. And also for the 3 Lions, are we going to see an event where Harry Kane, even though a fantastic goal scorer, might still not be able to lead his team, to continental glory? And let's keep our fingers crossed and see how that all pans out. I mean, there's a Cole Palmer in that attacking lineup. There's a Bukayo Saka. There's an Oli Watkins. There's an Ivan Toney, Jared Bowen. And I mean, basically, these are all guys who had amazing seasons this just concluded season in the English Premier League. And even in Europe, they had a frenetic outing. Anthony Gordon, lots of options actually. And hopefully England is able to put together a decent performance at Euro 2024. Well, another team that will be hoping to have an amazing outing would be Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo is likely to set a Euro record after he was named in Portugal's 26-man 2024 squad, unveiled yesterday by coach Roberto Martinez. The 39-year-old five-time Ballon d'Or winner will be appearing in his 11th major international tournament. He first played at Euro in 2004 and will be making a record sixth appearance at the Men's Continental Championship. Remember, he did collect the winner's medal in 2016, even though he went off injured after 25 minutes in the final. Ronaldo, who plays his club football for Al Nassr already, holds the men's world record for caps, 206, and international goals at 126. And alongside Ronaldo in attack for Portugal would be João Felix, Rafael Leo, Goncalo Ramos, as well as Pedro Neto and Francisco Conceição before facing the Czech Republic, Turkey, and then Georgia in Group F of Euro 2024. They have a couple of international warm-up matches, friendlies if you want to say, from the 14th of June to the 14th of July. That's the period that the Euro was going to be on. They have tune-up games against Finland, Croatia, and Ireland as well. Well, some of the big names there, Diego Costa of Porto, Rui Patricio of Roma, and we have Jose Sa of Wolverhampton Wanderers, Joao Cancelo, Nelson Semedo, Diogo Dalot, Antonio Silva, Ruben Diaz, Nuno Mendes, Danilo Pereira, Gonzalo Inacio, midfielders, Joao Palhinha. This is actually one of the best defensive midfielders anywhere in the world, and he does play for Fulham in England. Ruben Neves, he now applies his trade for Al Hilal in the Saudi Arabian League. Joao Neves of Benfica, Vintia of Paris Saint-Germain, Otavio Monteiro of Al Nassr, Bruno Fernandes, one of the very best when it comes to that midfield line, a midfield maestro you might want to call him, Bernardo Silva, the magician, right there from Manchester City, and of course forwards, the usual suspect Cristiano, Alvaro dos Santos, Ronaldo, Rafael Leo, Joao Felix, Goncalo Ramos of Paris Saint-Germain, Diogo Jota, and of course Pedro Neto and Francisco Conceição. This is a squad that can take apart anybody, any day, any time. But then again, you know how it happens in these tournaments. Only the best win. Now, for some Chelsea fans, it was heartbreaking, the news that they received yesterday, especially considering the fact that, towards the tail end of the season, this man looked like he was finally getting his acts together. He looked like he was finally understanding how to pair these boys together, how to grind out results. But then again, it also came as a cheerful news to a lot of Chelsea fans, who have been saying Pochettino should go, Pochettino should go. Well, finally, the Chelsea Football Club listened, or maybe there was some sort of disagreement, because Mauricio Pochettino has left his job as Chelsea manager by mutual consent. The Premier League club announced yesterday, ending the Argentines' reign at the club after just one season, despite a revival in their fortunes. Well, he did join Chelsea ahead of the 2023-2024 campaign when he replaced interim manager Frank Lampard, as the club's new owners Todd Boehly and Clarke Capital looked to freshen things up after a 12th place finish the previous season. Well, he signed a 2-year contract with the club, having the option of a further year, but the 52-year-old has now left the West London side after a turbulent campaign, despite a late rally to finish sixth and secure European football for next season. He's been there at Paris Saint-Germain, started off his career as Tottenham Hotspur manager, came in after Chelsea had splashed out more than any other club in Europe in the close season transfer window last year, spending £400 million on signing. And Chelsea Pochettino was Chelsea's third permanent manager under the new ownership after Thomas Tuchel and Graham Potter, and the players took time to gel as the club struggled to establish a run in the early months. Chelsea have qualified for the Conference League but will play in the Europa League if Premier League champions Manchester City win the FA Cup final against Manchester United on Saturday. And well, exactly, that is how it panned out yesterday. And this comes as a shock to a couple of Chelsea players. It comes as a very big shock for them. There are now speculations in the media about possible replacements for Chelsea in that managerial position. They're throwing up names like Ipswich Town manager Kieran McKenna, Sporting Lisbon's Ruben Amorim. We also have ex-Brighton manager Roberto Di Zerbi among some of the leading candidates for the vacant managerial role at Chelsea. Now, you might want to say I have a soft spot rather, for Chelsea. But then again, personally, I do not think this is a good move for the Blues. I tell you why. The season before the last season that finished, Chelsea had 3 managers and finished 12th on the log. Now, someone comes in, has a basically new set of players to play with, and then manages, a lot of tinkering, a lot of experimenting, eventually seems to get his ass together and takes Chelsea to the final of the Carabao Cup, almost qualifies for the final of the FA Cup, and also Chelsea finishes in a European spot for next season. I think by all standards, if we are going to be fair, that was absolutely an impressive performance. But then again, you know what the standards at Chelsea is or has been for quite some time. This is a club that has seen some level of success, especially since the 20th century, since Roman Abramovich took over. Even though the ownership has changed hands, we now have American owners in the person of Todd Boehly and the Clear Lake Capital. Now, I would have expected Pochettino to stay for at least one more year in Chelsea, especially now that he's been able to find some redeem, some level of consistency in results. Because that has always been the challenge, since he took over at Chelsea. It's not as if the players are not playing well, but they find it difficult to sustain the tempo. So Chelsea plays today, gets all 3 points. They play tomorrow and they lose scandalously. There was a lot of back and forth in results up until they were able to find this consistency. So I felt like he should have stayed at least one more year, but apparently the owners feel they know better. And so Mauricio Pochettino will not be staying on as manager of Chelsea. Now, you want to ask, what really informed this decision. And I hope you know that being a coach and being a manager are two different things. Now, there are managers and there are coaches. Managers in the likes of Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Carlo Ancelotti, Antonio Conte, and the rest of them. Even Jurgen Klopp. And I think this was one of the challenges that Jurgen Klopp, had at a time at Liverpool, where he was always having clashes with the then sporting director, who I now understand has made a return back to Anfield. Talking about Michael Edwards, if I'm not mistaken, who had a say in most of the transfers. Now, the difference between coaches and managers is the fact that as a coach, you prosecute or you carry on with whatever the club makes available. But as a manager, you have the liberty to make choices in terms of personnel. You can say, I want this player, I want that player, and the club gets it for you. That's what makes you a manager. And it's not a lot of clubs who need that kind of control. In fact, it was one of the reasons that Chelsea could not get the services of Pep Guardiola back before he signed for Manchester City. Because he's not the kind of manager, or he's not the kind of coach, if you want to say it like that, who comes in and then you're the one who decides for him the players that he's going to use. I think Pochettino has some sort of tactic, some sort of system, but apparently does not have the nature of the caliber of players to prosecute. And so I'm imagining that he's telling the club, these are the kind of players that I need. But apparently the club has a different arrangement, has a certain group of players that they choose to go for. If you look at the kind of transfers that Chelsea have made in recent times, it's basically transfers for the future. They're not going for players who you can look at the moment and say, oh, they have some sort of solidity, they have some sort of stability, they have some sort of maturity in their play. These are players that you need to give them time before they can give you what you want. And I'm sure that Mauricio Pochettino does not really have all of that patience, especially since Chelsea fans want results. Little wonder in one of the press conferences he had recently, when he was asked about the player, he said, "These are not my players. These are Chelsea players." And that is not typical of a manager. A manager, has his own players, has his own tactic, has his own system, and would want his players to play according to his pattern. But apparently there is him and of course Chelsea do not have that agreement. Well, talking about severed relationships, Germany's Toni Kroos, who is now 34, will retire after this year's European Championship. The Real Madrid midfielder announced on Tuesday, adding that the next month's Champions League final against Borussia Dortmund will be his last game for the Les Merengues. Well, he says, "My career as an active footballer will end this summer after the Euro Championship. As I have always said, Real Madrid is and will be my last club," Kroos said in a statement on Instagram. He made 463 appearances for club since joining in 2014, and will leave as one of the most decorated players in Real Madrid's 120-year history, winning more than 20 trophies, including 4 European Cups. In addition to his status with Real, the midfielder won the 2014 World Cup with the German Machines and another Champions League title with Bayern Munich in 2020. And so, big congratulations, gracias to the big man, Toni Kroos. Let's round off this morning. It's not yet time for us to round off, actually. Bayer Leverkusen play Atalanta tonight in what promises to be an absolutely frenetic and exhilarating battle right there for the for European glory. Bayer Leverkusen have appeared to be some sort of unbeatable force. Some people call them never losing, and this season managed, of course, by the tactful man himself, Xabi Alonso. They will be playing in a European final for the first time since they finished runners-up to Real Madrid in the 2002 Champions League final, and they will be eager to snap a 2-match losing streak against their Italian rivals. And so it's Bayer Leverkusen against Atalanta tonight, as Leverkusen will be going into the final in Dublin's Aviva Stadium on the back of a formidable 51-match unbeaten streak in all competitions. Is this the night that Bayer Leverkusen will finally be beaten? Is this the point where the team that has never lost will eventually lose? Well, only time will tell. Remember, we'll have Nigerians who will be in action tonight, and Nathan Tella and Victor Boniface for Bayer Leverkusen, and of course Demola Lookman for Atlanta. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see how that pans out. That is a big match fixture for today. And talking about Pep Guardiola, the man who has of course made history. He was named Premier League Manager of the Year yesterday after guiding Manchester City to an unprecedented 4th successive title. The Spanish coach has previously won the award 4 times since he joined the club in 2016 with 6 league titles. He's now the joint 2nd most successful coach in the history of English football, behind no other than, of course, the big man, Sir Alex Chapman Ferguson. So congratulations to the man who is never happy losing, and that's talking about Pep Joseph Guardiola. He saw off competition from the likes of Mikel Arteta of Arsenal, Aston Villa's Unai Emery, Bournemouth's Andoni Raiola, and of course Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp. And to the beautiful game of tennis, we had Andy Murray making a comeback in Geneva yesterday, but it did end in defeat for the Briton. The dream of one more match between Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic evaporated yesterday as Murray tumbled out of the Geneva Open on his comeback from an ankle injury. Wildcard Murray was 7-5, 4-1 down to Yannick Haffman when a thunderstorm lashed the Parc des Viver ground on Monday. They resumed on Tuesday with the German world number 85 taking little more than 10 minutes to win the second set 6-2. And we hear that Rafael Nadal is ready for an emotional French Open finale, or farewell if you want to put it like that. Rafael Nadal will bring down the curtain on his 19-year French Open career, with the likelihood of adding to his 14 titles greatly diminished before he leaves behind a record and reputation unlikely ever to be matched. Let's also look forward to that one. And Djokovic has backed Nadal for a French Open title. And this is where the cookie crumbles on this morning's edition of the show, because he will fight and runs away, lives to fight another day. We'll leave you with behind the scene clips from the just concluded Fora Italico, talking about the Rome Open, where we had Iga Swiatek and Alexander Zverev, the victors and winners on that particular one. Well, until tomorrow when we're back again, myself and of course we're back here to give you more on sports. Do enjoy the rest of your morning on the Rapid.
All right, welcome back. It's still Rapid on. I do hope that you enjoyed Esther Seco earlier on. Today is normally Wednesdays are Weird Wednesdays, and I'm not sure we've actually had this kind of conversation before on the show. No, we have had it passively, but we've never had a guest for this kind of conversation before. Not your regular kind of conversation anyway. So this morning we are going to be looking at matchmaking. You want this person, you want that kind of person, you want this kind of person. I'm this kind of person. I don't know. Lots of unrealistic demands and expectations from a person you haven't even seen, who hasn't even seen you or met you before. But we're gonna evaluate the matchmaking system in the world, Nigeria, the dating system as well, and we're going to look at how receptive it is in Nigeria. Okay, and to have this conversation with us, we have a person who is definitely experienced and worthy to have this particular kind of talk. She goes by many names, many titles, even though I would love to call her Alhaja, but let's just use Sisi Adeola Agoro. She is not just a journalist, she's a journalist with several platforms, and she's also a matchmaker. Maybe before the end of the show, she will match me with somebody, 1 billionaire.
Oh my goodness!
In the UK.
It's your excitement on this subject for me.
Because
I've never seen you so elated to talk about any subject.
No, she will matchmake me with a billionaire.
Okay.
In his, what's the age now?
60s.
Well, when we get there, I'll have realistic demands anyway. Good to have you, Alhaja. Good to have you, Sisi Adeola, on the shows. I mean, I can't wait to hear everything you have to say.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, let's start with matchmaking. I mean, how is the reception like, matchmaking? And what does it even mean to matchmake a person or persons?
Okay, let me quickly do a clarification between matchmaking and hookup. Matchmaking is when you bring a man and a woman together for the intention of marriage. That's matchmaking. They start a relationship that may lead to marriage. But hookup is you're hooking up with somebody for whatever gains you want to get from it. So that's the difference. No, now talking about matchmaking, the reception has been generally impressive, encouraging. I've been matchmaking since 2000 stroke 2001 on the pages of newspapers. I started with PM News, and then I went on to Hint magazine, and then
Hint.
Yes, Hint, yes, and then later This Day, and then of course the Comet, and then the Nation, where I was society editor for both Comet and the Nation. So I always had my column, or my columns, as the case was, where I would matchmake people. And I'll tell you, it was something, and it is still something I find really fulfilling, when you bring people together and they find love, they find happiness, you know. So it's been a worthwhile experience.
Okay, so it's good that we have that clarification. So we have a video that we're going to play right now. Okay, we had that video on Monday, and myself and Ugo, we did talk about, and we're like, what these men are saying, we don't understand it. So thank God we have a professional here, and we're going to be watching this video. She's going to be telling us what she thinks about this particular video, and we'll continue the conversation from there. Okay, we are back. I could see the expression on your face throughout, and you're like,
Shocked to the man.
oh. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think all the men, I don't think they're serious people. And they might have come on the show just to be seen. They might not have actually wanted something. And that's the difference between the kind of matchmaking we do. We talk to people with a sense of maturity. Even if you thought the girl wasn't good enough, you wouldn't be saying it to her face. Like in the case of the girl we just watched, she's beautiful, the right curves in the right places and all that. And she's a good-natured person. You could see that she wasn't really offended. She might have been dying inside though, but she was still able to give us that cool smile and all of that. So you don't hurt people by telling them to their faces they're not attractive, they have fat feet or fat legs and all that. For me, it's not the way we go. Real matchmaking is specifying actually what you want. So you won't be surprised when
You see
see the person. You would have said, I want a dark-skinned girl, average height, you know, maybe Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, or Igbo. So you won't, for instance, like a request I got on Friday, the man specified he wants a girl who is not more than 35, because definitely he's still thinking of somebody who might still have a child, and a professional Igbo. He gave me all the specifications, and of course he said she should be ready to be a second wife.
Okay.
So there are no surprises. It's his choice, and it's the choice of whoever comes. So you can't contact me now and say you can't be a second wife, because we have already said it. We have made it clear this is what he wants, or these are the qualities he wants. And then you come, you are Yoruba, for instance. A lot of Yoruba people have said, why not me? And I'm like, we made it clear. It's Igbo he wants, and you're saying we are Yoruba. So things like this won't happen, because we let you know exactly what the other person wants. So
You know, when you started, you tried to clarify that hookup and matchmaking are not the same thing. But over time, I've tried to observe that people tend to be deceptive, even when they write what they think is what they are looking for. So a lady is pending down her request, and then she says, I want a man who is this, that. But actually, when you look at all of that, it can be summarized into, I want a rich man, I want a man with money. And then there's a guy who says, I want a lady who is this. And all the while, all he wants is someone to have sexual relations
Yes.
with. You know? So I don't know if you have also noticed that pattern of deception, you know, where people put out certain requirements, but that's not actually what they are looking for.
I'm so happy you're bringing this up, because I was discussing with a friend who sent a request all the way from Saudi Arabia yesterday. He said he needed a woman in her 50s. By that, he feels by 50, you'd be settled in life. You won't be looking for money. You'd have everything.
How old is this guy?
He's 59.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's looking for a woman, and he's quite comfortable. And I told him, I wish I could share the conversation with you. And I said, the problem I've had with women generally of all ages is they tell you this is what they want, but in actual fact, they're looking for a rich man. You find a woman who, by all standards, by all means, is very rich. And I'm not saying comfortable. And she's looking for a very rich man.
Of course.
For instance, a lady I know that I'm very close to, she needs a man. She's very comfortable. She has her own private estate in this Abuja. Beautiful and all of that. She made it clear, anybody you bring my way has to be rich. At least he should be able to pay my electricity bills, even during courtship. And I asked her, what's your electricity bill? She said it's not up to ₦1 million. Because you have all the ACs working, all the works, you know. It's a very large house. I told you she has a private estate, so you could imagine where she's living. And you know what it means in a month, what she generates, electric this, electric that, and all of that. So you could imagine you're a man, you're starting a relationship with her, you go there, you have your meals, and then you are under the AC, and then when it's time to pay for electricity, you can't.
And she tells the baby, can you help me?
Can you? It's about helping. She says, so you're using it together. By the time you start a relationship, so most women are not really clear about the exact things they want. They will tell the matchmaker, but they will make the man feel, all I need is love. When in actual fact, what they need is a very comfortable man. They don't want to suffer.
Okay, but this is the part where I'll get to ask you. You say you see women who have enough for themselves and the likes, and they still want a man to have money. Do you think that it's something odd, or is it just the is it the hypergamous nature of a woman now? She just wants above. You know, I mean, a man doesn't mind looking down, right? But a woman always wants to look above. Is it a problem in terms of when you have to matchmake a person? Is it a problem? And then also for these women who, like this woman you're talking about now, who wants a person who at least can be able to afford the electric bills for her. And this electric bill is not 2.50 cover. It is, I mean, with the new rates now, tariff hike and the rest, that man needs to also be in money. So what is the realistic nature of she finding a person like that?
Well, the chances are a bit slim. You know why?
Why?
Most rich men would rather go for a woman who would appreciate the little things of life. Most rich men would want to, for instance, go for an average girl, and he knows that when he gives you his little money, yeah, okay. But we're not even talking about money now. But most of the time, it boils down to money. We're talking about love and relationship, but I've since found out that they go hand in hand.
With money.
With money. So it's always really difficult.
Have you given her your slogan? Please tell her your slogan.
Goodness. I always say that the problem is money and that the solution is money.
The problem is money.
But does it have to be like that? You know, back in the days, they say, oh, you could find love even if you're not rich, even if you're not boxed up. But right now, it seems the narrative has changed.
And it's a big problem because you find out that love, you could find somebody who has all the love in the world for you. He will give you all his care and all of that. All you need is to come together and say, okay, these are your weaknesses, these are the things you can't afford, and we come together to make it work. And you'd be surprised that when you work together, you build a fortune together. And I'll tell you, there are still women out there who are ready to work with a man. Once they see that you have the potentials, they are ready to work with you to build something, and you know, you achieve a lot in life. But a lot of women want ready money, and a lot of men too. Most men are attracted to very successful women because they just feel, let me just be grabbing. And they're not, you see, the difference between a man who wants money and a woman who wants money is that the man who wants money wants the money to be fresh, to go out there, let his friends say, oh, he's wearing good shoes, he drives a good car. They want to spend to entertain their friends.
And he will even use your money and take other girls out.
And to take other girls out. But a woman who wants a rich man might just want to invest in a business, which eventually the man might also benefit from. So they just want you to be very comfortable. So I think we're leaving matchmaking now. But see, one thing I always tell people is that whether you're matchmaking people or they're meeting on their own, it's still the same problem they meet. Matchmaking just makes it easier for you to meet the next person. It's just like picking something and putting it somewhere. And it's just like IVF. You pick the semen, you pick the egg, and it's so easy.
Together.
Unlike trying on your own. You might not even be in the right place to meet the right person. But with matchmaking, you are like, this is what I want. And we put it out there, and there are so many people who would match your exact request. Unlike you are here now in the TV station, or you're in a bank, or you are in one oil company, you are from 7 till 9 p.m. you're at work. Your chances of meeting somebody, except your colleagues, and your colleagues will definitely meet people maybe in the mall. Men find it easier to talk to women and say, hello, I'm single, are you single? But women can't approach men. That's the problem with women. So matchmaking makes it easier for women especially to meet the kind of men they really want. They tell you, this is what I need, I'm so busy. Because see, where do you meet people? You meet them in church, but most of the time, churches, you have men who already have their wives. Or who already have their girlfriends. And it's so difficult to see a sister and say, hello sister. Supermarkets, you may go and approach a lady who is married. So you're a bit careful. So, and those are the chances of meeting people, and those chances are closing up because you have a very busy schedule at work, and at your free time, you're probably doing
tired.
your laundry and all of that. But when somebody brings someone close to you, you know, it's easier to meet your kind of person. That's matchmaking. But whether they make it easy for you or you meet the person on your own, these problems you're talking about, relationships, would always arise. At that point, there's nothing the matchmaker can do for you to help you.
Okay, so that means the matchmaker's job ends once you both connect.
The Yorubas will say, "Te ayaba moju okoton alarin no ayeba." That once the wife already knows the husband, then the matchmaker's job is done. So all other things.
Because I was going to ask, part of your role as the matchmaker, does it not involve taking the blame if the relationship does not work out?
Well, most times you take the blame because they would say, you got me a bad man or you got me a bad woman, forgetting that we're all human beings. And when you understand human beings, there's a bit of psychology in this. It's the person. Most people won't tell you I'm bad. That's why I'm still single or I haven't met somebody. They won't tell you their orishirishi, bad habits and all of that. It's when you meet them and you start getting close to them. So, except you tell us, oh, okay, when searching for me, make sure you find out if this person is bad. That leaves us to ask, who is going to tell you that I'm bad? Or who would even accept that they are bad?
But because I remember when someone messaged me one time on Facebook and said they wanted me to help them out with some. Okay, I think it was an elderly man. He wanted, to find a woman, and because he's very busy. And in my head, I was like, okay. So I think the first thing I asked him was, what are your bad habits? So do you get to, as a matchmaker, because maybe as a normal person who is not professionally into matchmaking, the first thing I want to ask you, what are your bad habits? Don't tell me the good parts. What are your bad habits? What are those nasty things? Because the person needs to know that they can make do. You might have all the money in the world, but you have a very terrible bad habit. So do you get to ask these people, okay, while you're listing out your likes, the kind of man you want, do you also include that, oh, I'm a very impatient person, or I get coconut head, or oh, I snore while sleeping, or maybe I don't flush the toilet when I use it. Those type of things. Do they?
Well, what I try to do most of the time before I matchmake, this is a bit unconventional and it's un-African. I try to see the zodiac signs and to see if they match. So, for instance, when you tell me you're Aries, I know that, oh, okay, these are your compatible signs.
Yes.
Because I know you're fairy, you're hot, you could be very nice and generous, for instance, but I know, so I won't match you with a Leo, for instance, because I know that you're going to you may be, you may easily attract because they are both fire and all that, but by the time it's a burn. So I try to bring you somebody who is a bit mild, somebody who is understanding and all that. And then, for instance, if you are a Sagittarian and I know you are a spendthrift, I won't bring you with somebody who also spends like you. So I try to see how we can balance it. But see, when you talk about bad habits or bad behaviors, some people will tell you this is who I am. They're not even going to tell the matchmaker because they're desperate. By the time somebody comes to meet a matchmaker for a mate, that person is already reaching that level where he can't find it on his own. So there's that element of desperation. Let's put it that way. So you're like, let me be good, let me sound good, I'm a very nice person and all of that. You're not going to tell somebody I don't flush the toilet. And then you talked about snoring. Snoring is not a bad habit. It's something that comes from nature. But you may want the person to know
To not snore.
that see, I snore. So what are the things we can do about it? But most of the time you don't even discuss that with the matchmaker. What you want are some of the outward qualities, and then maybe professional qualities, because most people don't want a lazy person who is not doing nothing. I could remember somebody was telling me something. A man, after matchmaking and all of that, visited her and he wanted to know what she was doing for a living, and she said she owned a business and he wanted to know where her business outlets were. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And he said she was working from home, and he said, where are the goods? And she said it's when people order that she said to them. You as a man, what would you say if you met a woman like that? So let's even try that with you.
I mean, without seeing the goods.
Without seeing the goods.
Well,
What are you talking about?
Maybe she does buy and selling. When you order, she
where
buys.
now?
Okay,
So
no,
that
I
means
do
it's
have a
not
neighbor.
a regular thing. That means, and a lot of people don't want liability. Especially at a particular age. You were saying something about your neighbor.
Okay, yeah, because I had rather this neighbor that she sells, but then if you go to her, you're not going to see anything at the moment. Whatever you're going to see with her is either something that someone has not come to pick up yet, or she just brought the item for the person. So it is when you pay that she goes and get the item for you, to avoid oh, pick for me, I would, and then people start owing. So she doesn't do that. So it is when you pay, she receives your alert, confirms, that's when she gets your item and sent to you.
So how many items does she sell in a day?
I wouldn't know, but her business is doing well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, maybe she's into all these specialized items, but most people will tell you they work from home. Some of them are not really working from home. They're just waiting for the next big thing to happen. And you as a man, you know how much you earn, for instance. You know you have, maybe you still have brothers and sisters you are training. You have a mother you are buying drugs for and all that. So you don't want a woman who will depend on you for everything she wants. So all those things are there. So sometimes matchmakers, I asked some of these things. Are you sure she has a job? And it's our duty actually to ask you, what exactly do you do? We don't want surprises.
Now, over the years, the numbers regarding divorce has been on the rise, and most of our parents and older people are beneficiaries of the matchmaking system. Most of them never even got the chance to date, court, or whatever it says. It was just people just linking them up, and then there was an agreement, and then marriage happened. But it seemed like we had more successes in marriages when we depended largely on that system, compared to now, where people meet themselves and then decide if they want to take it to the next level or not. So do you think the decline in matchmaking by our parents, sometimes it's the church that does it, sometimes it's the traditional rulers even in communities, do you think the decline in the matchmaking system has led to the increase in the number of the divorce that we see now?
You know why I'm smiling?
Yeah.
It's as if you are working in spirits. Yeah, you have been led by one spirit. You know why?
Yeah.
My page on Facebook is Sisi Adiola Aguru. On Saturday, I have a photo studio, and we sometimes go to people's homes to do their family shoots, especially if it's a large family. We were with a family on Saturday, just this past Saturday. So if you check my page, you'll see the live video I did for them. I asked them, how did you meet? They've been married for 45 years.
Wow.
She was 16 when the man's parents went to her parents' house to say they like your daughter, we want her for our son. By 17, they had started doing the exchange of gifts. They're Igbos. By 18, they were married. The first child is 40 something, now maybe 43 or 44. They have 6 children and all that. And the marriage has stood till now. And they're still very much in love. They still kiss, they still hold hands and all that. When I asked them, how did you receive the request of his parents, you know? And she said she knew the family. Her mother had already told her about their family. It's a good family and all that. So these are the things people used to find out, and which we still do. Those of us who still matchmake. They'll find out about your family background. What kind of people are they in their family? Are they the kind of people that when the wife in the family has a problem, they all gang up to beat her and send her out? Or is it the kind of family where when their son is misbehaving, they come to take their wife and keep with the parents and say until his head is okay? Is it the kind of family where they all come together in love to address an issue? Or is it a family where the mother is known to go out and be screaming and all of that? These are the things we don't do anymore, which they used to do then. So I think, yes, you're right. I think because we have left some traditions, even in Oyibo land in those days, they used to do that. They would say, this family, we like them, is the kind of family, and they will go to the family to ask, can we marry your daughter? Even some women would say, I like this person's son, I want him for my daughter, can we have a match? But since we moved away from that, people are now on their own to choose, and most of the time it's based on beauty or what she does. It's not about values anymore, or family background and all that. And then you see the Yorubas, there's a song by Sunny Ade. He said, Kalaya to buru pani. That if we have a good wife, it doesn't mean that if we have a bad wife, it doesn't mean she will kill us or she will not kill us. But having a bad in-law, that's the worst thing that can happen to you. So I think that the family values that we left behind could be responsible for some of the issues we have in the family now. Because you see, divorce is not something that happens in one day. It's the way we resolve issues or the way we handle issues. And then when you have problems in your family, you are very sure that the very first set of people you talk to are either your friends or your family members. It's the way they look at those issues that will determine the next action you will take, especially if you don't have a mind of your own. I've seen people who would say, terrible man, let's come and beat him, you know. So, but when you do it the right way, and the Yorubas will say, onitiju, that you have people you respect, if not for your mother or your father or your brother, and then you remember how you went to them or they came to you to do this matchmaking, you know you have a foundation. So you will always want to maintain that level of respect and love for the family. So I think the high level of divorce, separation, bad marriages is mostly because we see a girl, for instance, on the street, we don't know much about her. She has the right curves, she speaks good English, she dresses well, she has a good job. And the next thing, we're introducing her to the family. They're asking, what does the father do? He's a policeman in Sokoto. The mother, she's in Lagos with, so we don't really dig deep. So we allow our children, or we allow ourselves to pick whatever we want. At the end of the day, we face the consequences.
Okay, as we get set to wrap up, even though I have a lot of disagreement with the question he asked, which is why I want to ask this other question, do you think that the marriages of those days were actually, many people have described these marriages as endurance marriage. You meet up, you don't even know this person. And if I remember very clearly, when you started talking, you said something, the bad nature of a person is not about his family or anything, it's about himself. or herself. And so parents could say, oh, you're from a very fantastic family and all of that. We've seen your family, we go way back. But then how is the person himself? And then don't you think that the failure of people not wanting our father's kind of matchmaking is because they saw their family and they didn't like what they are seeing, and so they believe that, no, I wouldn't want that type of connection. Let me go out there and find my own person. Though you might say, how well is that faring for them? You might want to say, how well is that faring for them? But don't you think that if they had seen something, what, like the family you talked about now, the parents, the children in that marriage would want to say, oh, seeing how beautiful my parents' marriage is going, I think that I would love for them to be involved in my choosing of a spouse. But the large population of people who are not wanting their parents to choose spouses for them, don't you think it could be because they've seen, because you hear many people say our mothers were more of endurance. They kept enduring. Even when they were in severe pains, all they did was endure, throughout, until maybe one person goes, or till one person, life calls one person. So could that just be the reason why people of these days are saying, okay, no, let's go find our own person and let's live it that way?
Well, it could be. It could be because sometimes when you consider some of the experiences you maybe saw or witnessed with your parents, and the outcome of the matchmaking that brought them together, you would see that there were two people who didn't even know each other so well, no time to court. They just brought two strangers together, and then they would discover that the man is not really what he should be, or the other way round. But you see, I think most of the time also, it's not so much about, because there are so many marriages too that started that way and worked. The same way you would see some, life is not balanced. Some people will do something and it will work out well for them. Sometimes you do something that your sister has done and it won't work out for you. I have a situation, I have a family, the closest family to me in this Abuja. He's a senator. The house has allowed their children to marry themselves, like brothers' children. So yes, like this is my senator friend, the son, the daughter married the brother's son, and the marriage did not work. Meanwhile, another of his daughters married the half-sister's son, and the marriage is fantastic. Two daughters from him marrying their cousins, and one worked perfectly well and the other one did not work. So would you say it's because of matchmaking? No. It's just about the individuals involved. So I would just like to say that sometimes when we say, oh, I can't take this, my mothers took this, and our mothers took this from a man and all that, but they remained in their marriages and they brought us up, and the children are still united till tomorrow. So sometimes when we say what our parents did, we are not going to allow it to happen to us and all of that, it did not work out well. They endured, but they are still in those marriages.
Don't you think it's trauma? That's a function of trauma. You're leaving these kids with traumatic experiences.
Well, I think it is now that we start tagging those things, trauma and all those things. Those women in those days were enjoying the drama and all of that.
Were they?
They were enjoying it. You would see a man who will wake up tomorrow and say, I'm marrying my friend's daughter, I'm bringing her home, and the woman will fight and all of that. And at the end of the day, that young girl will be the one that will take care of her when she's old, and they'll become friends. So you might call it trauma initially because we bring upon ourselves what we want. There are things in life that will take. Like a man, he goes out every evening to drink because that's his style. You want to, like I always tell women when they say, why should he be going out? And I'll say, do you want him to remain in the house to be doing egusi with you? What would you be saying from morning till night that won't lead to problem? So you spend time together in love, but when he wants to go out, he needs that little time to relieve himself. Those are the things our women, the mothers in those days, were accepting, that we women now would say, he's going out, I'm also dressing up to go out. And at the end of the day, it's a boomerang. So they were doing things their own way. You might be trauma for you. It wasn't trauma for them, I'll tell you that. Of course, women are always up with politics. They will tell their children, I'm just enduring. No. That same woman abused the husband. And
So of course it's her husband. Why would you abuse her husband?
My father is crazy, and she will tell you you're a bastard.
Oh my
How could you
goodness.
talk to about my husband like that? So,
Because of our time, lastly, what is your ultimate formula for a successful relationship or marriage?
well, it's being real. That's just the main formula. Be real with yourself. This is who I am. Tell me who you are. Let's meet midway. You can't be perfect. I can't be perfect. But my excesses, I'm sure you can curtail. Your excesses, I'm sure I can also embrace. And some things, because both of us are not perfect, let's just meet midway and make it a wonderful experience. Oh,
Yes,
that's it.
the couple we talked
The
about.
couple. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. I mean, there's so many questions I want to ask, but then time is not on our side for us to, get into so many questions. But I would say thank you so much, Sisi Adeola Agoro, for coming to have this great conversation. You still owe me a matchmaking. My specification, let me outline my specification now.
Elon Musk standard, eh?
Elon Musk? No way.
No, but you said billionaire.
I don't want Elon Musk.
You said
He's such a
billionaire.
handful. He's too dramatic.
But he's a billionaire.
It doesn't matter. I can't eat the money and remove my eye from all those bad habits. No, babies everywhere. No way.
So what do you want, so we can put it out there and then people can hear?
No,
and then
not on the
contact
television.
you? Okay.
Not on the
So she's in the market. And I'll ask how old she is and all the details.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
We'll get back to you.
oh my God. You just said that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for staying with us from 7 till this time. I mean, we'll just have to end the show on this happy note. Don't forget, you can follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. You can stream all of our content on YouTube and on our website. Cynthia Agbo is my name, and
Ugochukwu Demere is my name. www.arabianradiotv.com. That's our website. Be real.
kisses.